We are live. We are live,
Nice.
large and in charge. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, family. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, Pansy?
Um, you know,
You know, yeah, Pansy had a rough day today.
it's
But
been a migraine day or
it's been a
two.
migraine day for Pansy, but she's back and she's making it happen right now, that's what matters, man. We all go through stuff. We all have rough days, but you know, you control your brain, not the other way around, right?
I'm here. I'm here as much
Yeah,
as I
which I
can.
really appreciate, by the way. I appreciate you very much for that. I gotta say, this is one thing of many things about Pansy that I appreciate is that no matter what's going on, she's gonna figure out a way to make it happen for the business, for what we do, and I've always appreciated that. There's a lot of people that don't. A lot of people make excuses. I'm guilty of it too, so don't get me wrong. Um, but I really appreciate that about you. So thanks for being here and you know struggling through it. Um,
Making it
but
work. Yeah.
making it work. Well, so we're on episode 40 now, so this is a pretty big milestone for us, and I had to have yeah, I had to have one of my favorite guests back on here to celebrate this with us. I'm really stoked that he's back on with us this week to share his what he's got cooking. And just to preface this a little bit and build this up a little bit, we had a conversation a little while back about, does anyone that you know, this got brought up at a certain point, but does anybody that you know that's been really successful in real estate, was that the only thing that they did? Was just bought a bunch of real estate and got insanely wealthy from that? Not to say that you can't get really wealthy from buying real estate, but was that the only thing that they did? And I've got to say, I don't think I know one person that's been really successful in real estate where that was the absolutely the only thing they did, was just real estate, just buying real estate, and that's it. Now, that's also not to say that maybe there aren't folks out there that's true for, but I'd like to that'd be an interesting argument to really look at, interesting science experiment. But it's really important, and the reason I bring that up is because you got to have, and Jesse and I are going to talk about this. We're going to go over this, but you got to have active income coming in, right? If you're going to do this, you got to have active income coming in. I know this is what's a little bit painful is you pay for the mentorships, you pay for all the gurus, and you get sold on something, and I know this isn't necessarily what everybody wants to hear, right? You want to hear like, hey, this one thing, you just do this one thing and that's all you need to do. And while that would be really nice, and it's not to say that's not possible, but it's not, it's the exception to the rule. We'll just put it that way. But anyways, without going into a big diatribe on it, I'd really like to bring up Jesse so we can talk about this. I'm stoked he's here, so I'm gonna bring him up right now. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, brother?
Guys, Justin, Pansy, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Hey,
It's so good to see you.
Good,
good to
man.
see you.
Yeah,
Dude, can I just say,
absolutely.
I love the way that you two just like compliment each other and are
Thank you.
cognizant of each other and aware of each other. Like there are so many relationships that I see from people, whether they're in a partnership or not, where it's like this, it's based on this mutual transaction. And we're going
Mm,
to show up for each other in this way. And it's like nothing else matters.
hmm.
And so I just want to point that out, like just watching you two show up for each other in the way that you do. It is pretty rare. I think it's something pretty valuable. So
I
Thank you.
you guys are
100%
Yeah.
awesome.
agree. I agree, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you, especially. So, yeah, and you know what? Look, I I love what you're doing over there too, and you've been sticking with it and grinding and not giving up and building something really great. And that's just something that I admire. And it takes like business is not easy. Like anybody who says that business is easy is either I don't know, either got lucky or they're lying to you. That's the only two things that could be. I mean, or they were handed something, right? Because the folks that I know, that anybody I know that's started a business, that's really built a business or has, gone through entrepreneurship, it's it really shows you who you are. You figure out who you are in the process, I think, right? And I could talk about this for hours, but it really is one of the best self-help programs you could enroll yourself into is starting a business. So,
I would
but
agree. Entrepreneurship, uh, like I've told people before, I came here by way of a health journey
mhm,
and just happened to stumble into Pace's group. And I thought I was gonna just be learning real estate. And it actually helped me with my health journey and mindset and all that more than anything else that I've come across, which is awesome because I found a whole bunch of people that were
mhm,
doing the same thing, right? Like many of us came here, it wasn't just about the real estate.
right.
And I'm like, I don't know if you guys believe in manifestation, but I mean, I've told Justin before that I manifested him and I manifested Pace. I manifested this group. Like I literally said one day, I need to be around good people.
Mhm,
Like I need to find good people that are also looking to better their lives and wanting to share that with others. And next thing I knew, I'm hanging out with some of the coolest people on the planet,
mhm,
you know? So it's amazing. It's amazing what all of this has brought to fruition and um, the awesome things that are coming along. And I'm
mhm,
so blessed to have Jesse and Justin and the many people that are on the Zoom in my life. So
mhm.
I appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, and I would say it rubs off, you know what I mean? You also your aura or the energy that you put out around people and when you're out and meeting people, it attracts those people to you. You know what I mean? So it's not just I believe in manifestation. I believe like visualizing and having true intentions about your goals and your dreams really is important and really does work. But it's also you too putting the effort in and being you, right? So and having that intention. But yeah, I'm always amazed at, when I first started this journey, I don't even recognize myself anymore, to be honest, from when I first started
You
this.
even look different, Justin.
I know,
I'll
I
have to
know.
say that. You even look different from when I first met you.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
I mean, what can I say? I think I gained a little bit of weight. That's probably what it
I
was.
don't think you gained weight.
So no, but
You look healthier. You do. You look healthier.
yeah, I appreciate that. I've been going to the gym a lot lately. So, you know,
I think you
and
both
that's
make
the other thing. We
amazing
could talk about
CEOs.
that too, but that's the other thing too is if you don't have your health in this, if all you're doing is grinding every day because you think working harder is going to make you successful and you're not balancing it out with, we hear this all the time, but it's really true. I go to the gym not to just it's not just about looking healthy. It's about I like what it does to me cognitively. Like I can tell immediately if I haven't been to the gym, if I haven't done my workout in like a day or longer, I can tell the difference, right? Like I'm
And
just
I
not
can tell the
as
difference too.
yeah.
And
You
I'm
can
just
tell.
talking to you on this.
Yeah, right. It's true though. You can tell like I'm not something's not all there, right? I haven't gotten my exercise, my routine in. Something is not I'm not as attentive, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I
and
could
that's not
definitely
always
tell.
the case, but still.
There's plenty of times when I'm like, Justin,
Yeah.
did you get your workout out in today? Did you have your did you eat?
Yeah.
Because he'll have
Yeah.
kind of some crankiness going on, and he's like, you know what? I haven't, and I
I
need to.
haven't. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So,
It is what it is, but that's about building the routine and taking action and all this. So, Jesse, let me ask you, man, because we were on here a while back with you, and I remember talking about this, and for this episode too, for folks who don't know who you are, give us a little bit of an intro about who you are, where you reside, how you kind of got started,
Whew.
and then let's dig in to the Active Income Network.
For sure. Man, what a loaded question. It's interesting to kind of look back on all these years and just kind of say, hey, condense all this. Who are you? Um,
Yeah, right.
uh, I did 15 years in the Air Force. And for a lot of people, when you join the military, you know, you don't know what to expect. It's foreign. I grew up not as a really confident individual. I was really more comfortable in the back of the class with my group of friends. I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to talk to anybody new. I mean, honestly, when I went to basic training, even the concept of going to basic training without my friends around me was so weird. I was like, man, what if I'm gonna look like an idiot. Like these were real thoughts. Like I'm gonna go to basic training. They're gonna tell me to do something. I'm gonna look like an idiot. And my entire life up to this point, if I didn't understand something or if the teacher said something, I wasn't even the person that would raise my hand and ask a question. Like I was so embarrassed to do that. Like my anxiety would go up. I would start
Mhm.
asking everybody around me and start freaking out.
Mhm.
And so even just going to basic training, man, without without my friends around was
That's a
very new
big
to
deal,
me.
man. That's a big deal. Pretty.
It is, man. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So I ended up doing 15 years in the Air Force. It was awesome. It was awesome. The 6 year mark came around and I was like, well, I think I'm doing pretty good in my career. Things kind of seem to be moving along. Let me extend my contract. So I went up to 10 years. And once you hit that 10-year mark, bro, like
Yeah.
really there aren't a whole lot of people that
Yeah.
bug out after 10 years, let alone
Yep.
15.
Yep.
But then I right around my uh that year 13 or so, give or take, like that's when I started getting more and more into that's when I started diving into entrepreneurship and real estate investing and all these things. And I had about somewhere between 18 months and 2 years left on my contract. I don't remember, somewhere in that timeline.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I've got to figure this out because when you're in the military, it's not like you just put your 2 weeks in and
Right.
it's like, hey guys,
Right.
my side gig is taken off, deuces.
It's a big decision and it's yeah, you got to plan ahead for sure. And I'm sure as far as the military was concerned, you were a lifer at that point as far as they were concerned, right?
Oh, for
Like you've
sure,
been
for
in
sure.
you've been in for what that was 15 years at that point or like 12
Yeah,
years?
just shot. Yeah, it was 14 years and like
14 years just
nine
okay.
months.
Yeah. Yeah. So the military's like Jesse Stanton, he's a lifer.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
people
then
ahead of me had thought they had me pegged too. They're like, ah,
yeah.
he ain't gonna do nothing, man. He's in here for life. We'll go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That old chestnut.
Would you say that that was part of the driving factor that you kind of felt that people were kind of putting you into a box. People you were working with were kind of figured like they knew what you were about and what was going to happen to you. Because I'll remember I used to work for UPS.
Mhm.
I was in management over there at UPS, and this was at one of their major like hubs. This was when I was in my like I was like 19 or 20 at the time, but the people that working around me were telling me, oh, I'd already been there for like 3 or 4 years. And like, oh, you're a lifer. You're gonna stay here, and you're gonna do this and do that and do that. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
We'll see.
But you know what I mean? It's kind of annoying. I don't know if that's. I might be speaking for you a little bit here, but that's kind of what it was for me a little bit. Like that was part of the driving factor of leaving and going and trying something completely different
Hmm.
at that point in my life, right? But
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. My mantra, dude, has since yes, my mantra has been the best revenge is massive success.
oh
It's been
yeah,
a huge driving force,
oh
dude,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember coincidentally enough, I remember, as you guys might remember, and for any new listeners, one of the things I did in the military was I was an instructor, and one of the things that we made a point to do in our detachment was we were kind of leading the way in innovation and how we were teaching and resources and technology that we were bringing into our instruction
mhm,
for the Air Force. Like of all the instructors in the Air Force, like our detachment up here in Alaska was kind of leading the way in terms of all this kind of innovation. And
mhm,
this was back in, I guess around 2019 is when all this kind of started. And that's when that's when I first started learning about AI, was back in 2019.
Hmm.
And a lot of the stuff that we did was on stealth aircraft. A lot of the maintenance and stuff we'd perform is on stealth aircraft, to include even, how do I word this? It's weird trying to take what you did with the security clearance and then convey this. We put paint on the aircraft.
Yeah,
So
we'll put, yeah,
just like you would see if you dropped your car off to go get painted at
right.
a place or whatever. And so one of the things that we ended up purchasing, because we were not wasting, but it's like we have to allocate real materials now to use for instruction that's not going on aircraft or anything out,
Mhm.
so they can learn how to do this stuff. And so what we ended up doing was ended up purchasing this AI thing where you put these goggles on and it connected to this paint gun, and
Yeah.
in the middle of a classroom, without putting any of your personal protective equipment, because we used to have full face respirators and Tyvek suits and everything, and a temperature controlled climate. And so now we could all do this in the classroom without wasting PPE or chemicals or anything like that. So it was really, really awesome. And one of the things, because we were leading it, one of the things we ended up having to do was call other detachments across the Air Force, and basically kind of sell them on this idea of, hey, like, this is what we're doing, and
Hmm.
you guys should come and do it with us, basically, type of deal.
Hmm.
And I remember the guy, my supervisor, asked me to kind of run the call, and so I did. And now this is back before, I didn't start my entrepreneur journey till like 2020. Like, I wouldn't say really into my intentional self-development started till then.
Yeah.
But in 2019, when I had to make this call, it wasn't going well. And so my
Yeah.
supervisor jumped in and then kind of handled everything else. He did a really good job with it. But then, of course, we had to debrief on it afterwards. And I told him, I said, look, like, the way that I learn, it's so crazy to even repeat this because it sounds so guru-esque. But
Hmm.
I told him, I said, I need you to let me fail. Because he'd always, when he was training me, he'd always get me to a point to right before he thought I was going to fail. And then he'd
And
come
he
in and
would
save
take
me. And I
over.
just
And he,
didn't
yeah.
get that experience the way that I needed it to.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, all this to say, like, there were so many other instances like that I just didn't feel like I was meeting my full potential.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't really given the space to create and to discover who I was. And
Yeah.
so and that's hard. I don't think that applies to just the military, as a civilian as well. I'd assume, you just got done describing your experience at UPS.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you
people.
recognize, so you recognize that fact about yourself uh at that time? You recognize the fact, like, I need to fail. You literally told your supervisor or your commanding officer, you need to let me fail and pick up the pieces,
It
essentially.
almost sounds too cringe, because it almost sounds too on the nose, like this was written in a movie script or something. But that's literally verbatim what I said. Yeah.
I mean, to have that kind of self-awareness though is rare though. You know what I
But
mean? Most people don't know that about themselves in that way, I would say. So a lot of people are afraid. In other words, a lot of people are afraid to fail, right?
mhm,
And that's where I started off too, was, look, I need to know all the things before I do something because I don't want to fail. At
mhm,
least I don't want to fail hard. You know what I mean?
sure, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And nobody does. Like, nobody wants to fail. Uh, at least not on a, large scale.
mhm,
But it's kind of, that's one of the things that's happened with me over the course of this journey, is that now I look for it, right? Now I look for the opportunities to just kind of do it and see what happens, right?
mhm, yeah,
Um, and if I'd been that way from the beginning, I probably would have gotten places a lot faster. That's the truth, right? Things would have happened a lot faster if I had just been okay with jumping off that cliff a little bit and failing, right? And then
mhm,
picking yourself back up again, right?
absolutely.
So that's really interesting. So going from there, so you at this point in your career in the Air Force, it was 2020 that you finally got out. Is that,
Yeah, I got out in 2022.
oh,
I
2022? So
started I
okay, so it
started
was a
my
couple.
I started my entrepreneurship. Yeah, I joined Sub 2 in 2020, right when Pace
Oh, that's
started
right.
it.
You were one of the first ones. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you started the entrepreneurship journey. you're still in the Air Force, and then by 2022, now obviously I'm assuming you had to give some kind of prior notice a little a little ways ahead of
Yeah,
time that
about a
you're
year in
gonna
advance, they
about a
start
year.
they
Yeah,
start bugging you, and they're like, "Hey,
yeah,
don't forget to go re-enlist. Don't forget to go re-enlist." And then you got
yeah,
6 months to go, and it's like, "Hey, are you going to re-enlist? Because if you're not, then you got all these other things you got." So they're bugging.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's a scary when you don't know exactly where you're gonna land. I know a lot of I know a lot of vets, and that's a leaving the military is a really challenging thing. Because you've been in something for a long period of time where it's been regimented, you've been told what to do, and stepping out of that can be really, really scary. But for you, you had already set your mind to, look, I'm gonna learn this thing, and I'm gonna build something for myself outside of the military, so that and I'm just gonna go for it, right? So take us from there. So you started learning real estate. You got out in 2022. What took place after that?
So I started out in 2020, wholesaled for a couple years.
Right.
And then we ended up just elevating ourselves as investors. And
Yeah.
then I mean, yeah, I mean that's I don't
Yeah.
once you step into the game of real estate, man, it's like the same thing every day. It's like, all right, I'm gonna call, I'm
Yep.
gonna underwrite, I'm gonna go to like it's yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. My little
yeah, nothing
dog's
really
barking
too
her head off.
exciting.
Well, and the reason I bring that up is because you got told, like a lot of us got told, that you had to wholesale, right? You had to start
Hmm.
wholesaling and doing that whole thing,
Yep.
and you start to realize that, maybe wholesaling is not for everybody, right? Some people really enjoy it. Some people are good at it, and they get a kick out of it, right? And they
Hmm.
make money at it, and they do it for a long period of time. And great, that's great for them. But that's not everything. I'd say for a lot of people, it's the exception. I know it was for me, but you get preached on that. That's what you need to start doing. That's where you need to
100%.
start if you want to make money. That's how you got to make money in real, if you want to get started in real estate. And it's 100% not the truth. So take me into now with the active income network. What started this for you guys? Like what was the turning point?
I had a major epiphany earlier this year. And I think when people, I think, and based on not only my own experience, but when I see what everybody else and talk, I mean, the hundreds of people that I've coached and talked with everybody, um, I don't know I know, Justin, we've talked about this before in Pansy.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Mhm.
And you've heard me share, I think I shared this last time I was on here. You know,
Yep.
there isn't anything in there about how Robert Kiyosaki got wealthy from flipping paper.
Yeah.
You know, he's buying stuff.
That's one of my favorite quotes of yours. Yeah. And it's 100% true. 100%.
So we thought, hey, let's go, let's maybe we need to start thinking about owning assets and what that would look like.
Hmm.
But then for people, and I think a lot of people think they're under this impression that if we want what the 1% have, if you're like me, or, you know, I looked up to somebody like Robert Kiyosaki or Grant Cardone, um, you might look at somebody like that and think, oh, well, what are they talking about? They're talking about real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I need to go buy real estate. But they don't they don't tell you exactly what you were talking about when we first kicked this off, was
Hmm.
that it's not step one.
Right.
So the way that people like Grant Cardone, or I guess really anybody, I mean, we were talking about this last week. I think the only other person I've heard say even something similar, other than myself, is Ryan Pineda. And
Oh,
he was on a
interesting.
podcast, and he was talking with
Yeah.
somebody else, and he was like, "Hey, do you know anybody else who's gotten wealthy from just buying real estate?" And he's like, "No, I don't know one other person." He's like, "Right, like you have to go earn active income."
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, when we jump into real estate to begin with, we look at the 1% have, and so we tell ourselves we got to do what the 1% are doing.
Yeah.
And so 90% of those guys are involved in real estate in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But nobody tells us that they're in there for different reasons than we are. They aren't in real estate because that's where they started. They're in real estate because their accountant's saying, hey, you made too much money and we need to go plug this in. And so nobody ever tells us that. And so we jump in and we think under this guise that real estate's just going to get us to where we want to go. And unless you've purchased real estate before, you don't understand all the things that could go wrong and all the different kind of expenses and things that come with buying and holding real estate. And a lot of that can eat up your cash flow pretty dang quick. And so I think a lot of people live off of hope and a prayer. They keep telling themselves, hey, I don't know exactly what this looks like. I can't, if I want to go create, because you get terms thrown out like generational wealth. And people hear that and think, oh, I'm going to go get in real estate. I'm going to create generational wealth here. But what they're doing is they can't calculate or put together any kind of a strategy that shows them the way to even $1 million. I mean, $1 million today isn't generational wealth,
right?
But even getting to $1 million, they're using hope as their strategy. Like, I don't know what this looks like. I've never done this before. I've never held property before. I don't know what all comes with it, but I am just going to take this plunge because I think that's what everybody else is doing. And what they don't realize is when they're doing that, they're putting their hopes and dreams, they're putting their entire business in a place of let me put it to you this way. Have you ever talked to anybody, or maybe that you've been there yourself, where you're like, hey, I want to go to this event, or I want to take my family to go do this thing, or I want to X, Y, and Z, but I'm waiting for this deal to close. Have those words ever came out of your mouth before? I'm waiting for this deal to close.
100%.
70% of wholesale deals never pass the finish line. Could you imagine going to work and saying, you got to work 50 or 60 hours a week, but we're going to pay you for only 30% of the time that you're there?
Yeah, you'd lose a lot of employees that way.
That's what we're doing. And not only that, I think people who choose to jump into wholesaling, like, they even assume that everybody else has their shit together. Like, they assume that just because somebody's raised their hand and said, hey, I'm going to buy her, they assume that person already has money lined up. They've already got their team put together. They're a great leader. They're going to communicate everything effectively so the deal goes through. And then you got people that are do all sorts of crazy stuff, man. And people just don't understand. And so you put yourself in a position where somebody else has to be or do something in order for you to be successful.
Yeah.
And I had this epiphany earlier this year where I was like, man, that will never happen to me. Nobody else will ever have to be or do something in order for me to be successful. And so what I realized was, I had already been doing this, but I didn't like it. It wasn't as clear to me a few years ago as it is obviously today. And that is this: you have to go learn how to produce active income, which means you have to go learn how to make money.
Yep.
Dan Martell told me one time, he said, a problem that can be solved with money is no longer a problem. And I thought about that for a second. I thought about all the people that I had coached, all the people that I knew that were coming to me with all sorts of problems. I thought about people over the last couple of years that have come to me needing help with Christmas and needing help paying their mortgage, needing help paying their credit card bill. And I was so grateful I was in a position to help them. But I think the bigger problem is that people just don't know how to go make money. And so what they do is they jump into real estate hoping to just check a box like, hey, if I get this property, it's going to change my life.
Yeah. Well, and again, you hear that all the time. Go get that one deal and quit your job. It's like, no, usually not.
That's not how it works. And if you need to go raise more money, or if you need to find a new property manager, or if you need to go get a new team member, what most people don't know how to do is solve those problems now. Like, they're not the type of person they haven't built leadership skills. They don't know how to communicate value. They don't know how to do that stuff. And the reason I love telling people to go earn active income first is because it forces you to go learn how to do those things. If you have a product or a service or something like that, here's a good example. Let me give you a good example here. I've got a client who's actually up here in Alaska. We got a couple in here actually right now. I see Aaron's in here. Jordana's in here. They're all working on things. And Aaron's a good example as well. but I want people, I'm going to use Angel as an example real here. I want people to, when I say you're already good at something, there are skills and things that you already have that you can monetize. The direct response I usually get from people is, oh, well, I'm not good at anything. I don't know. I don't have a skill, so I'm not good at anything. And so it's not just skills and abilities. It could be also experiences.
Yeah.
And so let me share something with you. So while most people, I want you to think about how maybe you guys have spent your day today. I want you to think about how maybe other people you know have spent their day today. Maybe they were on phones with agents, and maybe they were on phone calls with sellers, and maybe they were underwriting, whatever the hell they're doing. And it could be used as an example, like just low level things. It doesn't have to be just a real estate specific, but I know a lot of our audience is real estate specific. I've got a client, her name is Angel, and she has been working with veterans for the last 10 plus years. And so it's not necessarily a skill set, but what she does know is she knows how to talk to veterans. She knows that the issues that some of the veterans are going through and experiencing right now. As a veteran myself, I can tell you that one of the hardest things about being a veteran is even knowing what I'm eligible for. Like, what benefits do I get as a veteran? Did you know there are 18 million veterans in this country, and 70% of them aren't even claiming their help me out. What's
Yeah,
the word? Disability pay.
benefits, disability. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
this obviously goes way beyond just disability. There are all these other benefits that veterans get, and they don't even know what they are. And
Right.
so what she did was she went ahead and put together a um a PDF, a document for $10. And this document is filled with anything and everything that a veteran would ever need to know when it comes to what their benefits are.
Ooh, I like that.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
it's not only it's on a national level, but also broken down state by state by state.
Ooh, that's good.
And I'm
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, like that is like the
Brilliant.
ultimate.
Yeah.
And so of those 18 million veterans that would need something like this, in order for Angel to go and make $1 million, she only has to sell a $10 product and get that $10 product into the hands of 100,000 veterans.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So she can go join all these different Facebook groups. She can go to these different organizations and partner with them. Like that, the 100,000 of those 18 million, do you know that only accounts for 0.56% of that market?
It's a drop in the bucket. Yeah.
0.5%.
Yeah.
0.5%, and she's a millionaire.
Yeah.
0.5%. And so that's the game that people need to understand. That's the game that people need to be playing. But most people don't even know what game they're playing.
Right.
And so her skill sets now were, okay, I've got this thing. I didn't even have to have a talent or a skill or anything to put this together. Like it was just, here's a problem I can solve. Here's a problem I can take to the market.
Yeah.
Now, what you get paid for is you get paid in direct correlation to the caliber of skill set that you bring to the marketplace.
Yeah.
So now her problem that she gets to solve as an entrepreneur is, how do I put this into the hands of 100,000 veterans?
Yeah. Now she's gonna go out and learn marketing and sales and all of that. I've heard it said before, if you never want to go hungry again, learn marketing and sales.
That's
And I
it.
100% believe that's true. And it's one of those skills that you never get taught. You never get taught in school, unless you're around other entrepreneurs growing up or what have you. You got to go out and learn it. You got to go out and do it and learn it. And it's got to be an intentional thing because nobody's going to teach it to you. Nobody's just going to take your hand and teach it to you, right?
But it can be applied to anything. That's the
It could
crazy
be.
part. Is
Yeah.
it can be applied to anything. When I was focused on real estate, I applied that same knowledge and skill set that I was learning around marketing,
Mhm.
and I started targeting wholesalers.
Yeah.
And I started because I could convey a message to a wholesaler for them to read that and think, oh my gosh, Jesse is literally talking about my problem. I'd say, like, Hey, wholesalers. As a former wholesaler, I know how hard it is to find a reliable buyer. I want to be your go-to buyer. Let me help you and streamline your process.
Yeah.
Make this much easier for you. Like, is a wholesaler going to read that and think, yes, that's what I want? As opposed to somebody who just says, hey, send me your deals. Like, if I can outline the pain points of a wholesaler and then tell them in that same post how by me being their go-to buyer, I can solve their problem, are they more likely to send their deals to me now?
100%.
Especially if, what if I pay them an extra $1,000 if they give me the deal for a 24-hour thing before they send it out to anybody else? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So it didn't take long to get 400 to 500 deals a week getting sent to me.
And
So
that's
now I
right
didn't
there
have
is
to
the
build an
power of,
acquisition team. I didn't have to do nothing. I didn't
I
have to
mean,
pay somebody to cold call or a VA. I didn't have to skip trace lists.
yeah.
It's just marketing, but it's cool because now we're focused on active income. You can take that same skill set and make a much, much higher ROI.
Oh, big time. Yeah. You know what? And I remember you talking about this. It was the, you had to go out and kind of learn this. You had to learn the marketing side of it and be intentional about it. But being able to be very targeted like that and be able to describe the problem to the people that first of all, you understood who your customer was, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And you understood the message you needed to deliver to them, or you
Hmm.
figured it out, I'm sure through some trial and error,
Hmm. Of course.
right?
Yep.
But ultimately figuring that part out netted you a huge ROI, right?
Hmm.
And I remember when Pansy and I came to you and we were talking to you about kind of what we were doing. And again, I was trying to build a wholesaling team, had been at it for a while, all this and that, right? And it was you said something to me or said something to us that was just like it's so simple, but it was like, why didn't I ask myself that question? If that makes sense. But you just said, hey guys, like you kind of went like, hey guys, is this what you want to be doing? Like, is this what you want to be doing? Do you want to build a wholesale team? Do you want to build a wholesale operation and all of the stuff that goes with that? Because if it is cool, like whatever, but is it really what you want to be doing? Why did
Hmm.
you get into this? Like,
Right.
it's like I think about that and it's like, why didn't I ask myself that question? Why didn't I stop and actually ask myself that question? It's
I
like
asked you that question.
you
You
did, you
said
did,
yes.
but it's yeah, but it's different when, well, initially because it was yes, that's what I thought, right? But I'd never really pondered on it, right? I never really actually thought about
Well,
it.
you probably didn't have enough experience up to that time to be able to relate it to anything
That's
else
probably
either.
part of it. Yeah. But also all the people that I was looking at, like, that's where I want to go, were telling me that.
Hmm.
That's the other part of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so since having that discussion with you, now Pansy and I have done, have pivoted since then. But we've also now found ourselves in a very more targeted and very more intentional place,
Mm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah,
And it's paying off in ways that you know, obviously all this stuff takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, right?
for sure.
Sometimes things happen overnight, but that's the exception. Uh, but it's paying off in ways that we didn't consider initially.
Hmm.
And it's just like anything, it's a challenge. You're going to have to put in the work,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
You're going to have to put in the effort and put in the work, and you have to be consistent just like anything else. But the next piece of this puzzle is exactly what you're talking about, building something that's producing active income. Now, let me ask you a question with the active income piece is when you're teaching folks or when you're coaching or mentoring folks and teaching them how to find what that is for them, right? What that active income thing is for them.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure how I should put this. Are you basically telling them like, okay, look, you want to own real estate over here, but you need to have active income.
Hmm.
And let's say for someone like me who has a W-2, are you saying now I've got to double my my workload to have this active income thing, or are we trying to, I know it doesn't have to be that. And this is kind of a loaded question, so you have to forgive me,
That's
but
okay.
it's like, I know a lot of people in a lot of people's minds, it's like, I've been focused on this real estate thing. I've been told that this is what's going to build generational wealth for me. Now Jesse comes along and tells me, oh, you need active income. Nobody, no, right? You need to
Yeah.
go, you need to go build active income. And a lot of people are gonna be like I can feel the eye rolls, like,
Conflicting
what,
information.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so are you telling me now I've got to work double now because I need active income when I've been getting told this whole time real estate can generate passive income and that's what's going to make you well, right? So
Right.
when you're working with your students, maybe a better question is kind of walk me through that sort of process that you go through, like initially from a high level with
For
your
sure.
students, right?
For
Like, what do
sure.
you guys, you coming up with ideas? Like, let's brainstorm, come up with some ideas. What interests you? What skills do you currently have? What skills do you want to achieve or want to grow? And let's come up with some ideas of ways you can build active income, and maybe in ways where it's not going to require you to literally give up family and friends to be able to work this thing, right?
For sure.
So what does that look like?
I think it's a good question. I think there's a couple different questions in there. So let me kind of
There is,
address
yeah, sorry.
what I took
It's
away
kind of a
from it.
lot.
No, you're good. Those are great because I think everybody else is wondering the same things too. What people don't realize, yes, real estate is the vehicle that's going to create all that wealth that'll have a much higher ROI. But
Mm,
here's the thing: is that when you go buy real estate, you're going to have all sorts of expenses that you did not know.
mhm,
And if you don't have the money or the resources to account for some of those things, then it's going to leave you in an interesting place.
mm. That's a
And
nice way
so,
to put it.
so most people don't have
Yeah.
everybody that I've talked to is like, Jesse, I need an extra 10 grand a month, like yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I hear that, what I'm not hearing is, hey, I can afford to go and take a risk to go buy some real estate. And then if an HVAC goes out, or if they after we close on the property, we find out that there's mold or there's any of these other things going on, or I've got a tenant that trashes the place and I've got to do this and I got to do that, or I get somebody who's not paying or whatever it is, none of those scenarios are the exception.
Hmm.
Those are the rule. You should expect everything to go wrong when you go buy a piece of real estate. And if you're not somebody who has the funding already to cover that, because guess what? If you have a problem that can be solved with money, it's no longer a problem, right?
Right. Right.
So if you've already got that and you can look at that and say, hey, Jesse, I'm not worried about that. I can weather that storm for 3 to 5 years. I don't care if I lose 10,000 on a property that year or 20 or $30,000 on a property that year. That's fine. I can weather that storm every year for the next 5 years. Then in
Hmm.
which case I would say, great, keep doing what you're doing. The
Hmm.
majority of the people that I've talked to cannot say that.
Hmm.
And so what I tell them, stop doing real estate. Stop it. Because like you said, it's like, are you going to do both?
Right.
When you
Right.
go buy a piece of real estate, you're going to lose money.
Hmm.
But with the upside is what you get to capitalize on that 3 to 5 years down the road,
Mm. Hmm.
between the mortgage pay down and the appreciation, all that kind of stuff, right? Like
Cash
that's where
flow.
you get to capitalize on it.
Hmm.
It's not right now. So you have a storm that you don't know that you have to weather for the next 3 to 5 years unless you have
Right.
the experience that tells you that.
Right.
So if you do stay in real estate, you're going to and you need money, you're consistently going to be putting yourself in a position of, I need to just check that box. I don't know what to do. I don't know if my skill set is good enough. I don't know what skills I should be. Like, your future is not in your own hands because you're
Yeah.
only chasing a deal.
Yeah.
And you don't know where that deal is going to come from or when it's going to come or if it's even going to close. And the odds are stacked against you.
Yep. Yep.
So of the 30% that do close, how many extra like issues and everything come up? It's a high risk, high reward game is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that's
And we
actually to that point that the mistakes you do make in it cost a lot of money,
a
right?
hundred
That's the
dude, I've lost
difference.
35 grand on just EMD before.
Yep. Yep.
I had to lose $35,000 on just EMD one time because I knew that had we moved forward, it was going to cost me a lot more than 35 grand that I was
Oh
going
yeah.
to lose.
Yeah.
So losing 35 grand was a win. How many people are in a position, but I had the money to cover it.
Right.
So how many people are in a position to be able to say that?
Yeah.
So if you're not, then here's what I say. I say you have to focus on active income because now, just like Angel or Aaron or Jordana, anybody else in our community, Angel has this PDF that she's just got to go get in front of 100,000 veterans now.
I
So
love
this doesn't
that.
cost her anything. There's no overhead. You can't get any lower of a risk than this. So now it's just time. It's like you've got to build your marketing skills. You got to know how to write copy. You've got to know how to write a headline. And then as
Yeah.
you start making more money, now you're going to have to bring other people in.
Yep.
So now you're going to have to, you might hire somebody in operations, or you might hire somebody to help out with marketing. And so you got to, so then you're going to start building out your leadership, and you're
Yeah.
going to have people come and go because you're going to suck as a leader, and then they're not going to want to stay. And you didn't do things right, and you didn't implement systems and processes, and you didn't put SOPs in place. You weren't taking the time to do one-on-ones. The only time you talk to your team was to talk business. You didn't take the time to get to know them personally or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you go through all those things. So I always tell people, if you're in a place where you need money, go create active income and don't do anything else until you've hit $1 million. And I say $1 million as that metric because the type of person, like you were talking about, Justin, the type of person that you have to become after you make $1 million. Let's say this bottle right here represents $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So what most rich people are doing is they're going, and they're only doing one thing, by the way. Most people who go and make $1 million, they didn't do it juggling 7 different things. They did
Yeah.
one thing,
Yeah.
and they committed one skill set to solving one problem. So you fill this thing up, and once this is overfilling, because you've made your $1 million, now you take all that overflow and you go and get another cup, and this cup represents real estate. Now you're dumping it into real estate, and you're dumping it into crypto, and you're dumping it. That's how that's supposed to work.
I
It's
love
not,
that.
hey,
Yeah.
so it's step 2. Real estate is step 2. Active income is step 1. Real estate is step 2. And when you do it this way, it puts you in a position to where no matter what, for the rest of your life, if you go bankrupt, if you go get foreclosed on, it doesn't matter. You lose your job, whatever. When you've become the person that can do this, you're never going to be like, oh crap, I got to go get a job at Lowe's now.
Right. That's
Because
so
you are
true.
somebody who knows how to do it. You are somebody who knows how to go build strategic partnerships,
Yeah.
how to bring and deliver and communicate value to the market.
Yeah.
And that's what you get paid for.
Yeah. So true. I mean, look at Pace. He was a contractor. He had a successful contracting business before he got into creative real estate and buying a bunch of real estate,
I
right?
remember him talking about making millions of dollars as a contractor.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
said he even lost $1 million.
Yep.
I'm like, damn, I don't even know any contractors that are making $1 million. That's awesome.
But the right, I mean, but still, that's what he was doing. He was already, and it put him in the perfect spot to start buying real estate because he was already around it all the time. He already knew something about it, right? So it was just kind of a natural progression for him. But the point is, he was already successful at a completely different business model.
Right.
And I think about literally everyone. Jamil Damji. Now, Jamil started off doing wholesale, but he built a franchise, and that's the only thing he was focused on. And he was doing it different than everybody else in that he was building an agent model that nobody else had tried at the time. Now it's completely like blown out.
He
But
sold Keegan.
and he sold Keely. He just recently did that.
Yeah, he recently
He just
sold it.
recently sold Keely.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
But so that he can focus on other things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he can now go do other things that are more important to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, all these guys started, and again, that was before Jamil ever started buying real estate. Like that's what he was good at, because Jamil and Pace, well, Pace talks about it too. You know, both of them were not good at sales initially, right? That was a skill that they had to get better at over time, right? Same with marketing. Everybody's got to start somewhere with it, and we're usually not very good at whatever it is. Some things you might have more inclination towards than other people, but you still have to build on it. You still have to get better at it, right? Especially if you're going to
Absolutely.
break the $1 million mark, right?
Absolutely.
So let's say I'm a brand new student and I'm starting your mentorship or I'm starting your program. What's one of the first things you're going to ask me to do as a student of yours?
To get clear on what you want to monetize.
So
Because
figure out,
that's going to dictate everything. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
so I'll give you something really cool. This is something I got from Russell Brunson, and it's called a Dream 100 list. And so I've used it. We're using it. We're building out our Dream 100 list again for this coming year. So I'm really excited for it. We got some really big things that I think is going to manifest into uh, a lot of impact.
I love that. Yeah.
And when you're clear on what it is that you want to do, well, so we'll start by helping you figure out like what have you done? What experience do you have? What can you monetize? You know, as an example, a lot of people in the military, what else are you going to do if you get out? You're just going to go continue working on fifth gen stealth aircraft as a civilian? Like what are you qualified to do, dummy? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But when you break it down, when you understand like what the military, I've learned so much dude, the military, when I went to basic training, they put everybody into the shower
Hmm.
and they said, all right, what they didn't do, Justin and Pansy, they didn't say, guys, you have 30 seconds, go shower and get your asses back here. They didn't do that.
Hmm.
They put everybody into a shower and they said, all right, there was probably some expletives in there. They said, everybody raise your left hand. Everybody's all naked in the shower, left hand raised. Grab the bar of soap with your right hand. Underneath your left armpit in a clockwise fashion. Lather that bar of soap until you see bubbles. Stick your left armpit underneath the shower head and rinse so there is no more soap left under your armpit. Now raise your right hand and grab the bar of soap with your left hand across your chest and under your right armpit. So they repeat it. So the reason it's just kind of funny, but it's true.
Uh-huh.
When the military teaches you how to do something, they don't show you how to do it to where you just get it right, to where you're kind of clean. They show you how to do it to where you can't get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very, very big distinction right there. So whether
That
you're
is, yeah.
showering or whether you're flying $150 million stealth aircraft, the principles of instruction are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They teach you how to do it to where you can't get it wrong. Now, what would that look like as an entrepreneur if somebody had a program or a community in that way, where it was structured and built in a way where it wasn't just here's the education, here's the information, go
Right.
figure it out. What if it was
Right.
designed in a way to where you can't get it wrong?
I love that.
So
I
that's
love that.
so as an example, there's a skill set right there
Hmm.
that when you look deep enough beyond just oh, well, I guess you're going to have to go turn wrenches on stealth aircraft.
Yeah.
When you look deep enough, it's like, holy crap, man. Like there's an experience
Hmm.
right there and a skill set to monetize and to help people and to bring impact into this world.
Yeah.
That is just so wonderful. Here's another example. I walked into a thrift store a few weeks ago
Hmm.
and I beelined it for the book section naturally. And I'm going through the self-help portion and I'm just looking to see what they have. And here's something that really stood out to me. It was really interesting. I don't remember the name of the book, but it had something to do with it was something along the lines of like what to expect when you're going through an affair.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
now I'm not going through that, but the reason that it stood out to me was because at that instant I sat there and I pondered on that for a second and I was like, what is this woman going through or what has she been through? And I mean the specifics, like from the moment that she found out that she was having or somebody was having an affair.
Hmm.
I didn't pick the book up and read it or anything, but I just started thinking like, man, did she have kids? How did that impact her relationship with her kids? What emotional energy and distraught
Oh
came
yeah.
from that? Did she have to go see counseling? Did her and her significant other go to couples therapy or whatever it is? Like how much money was lost? Did they get a divorce? Like, and what did all that look like? And just the emotion, like what an experience, right?
Yeah.
And she thought to herself, at some point down the road, she thought to herself, man, that was either horrible enough, or I learned so much from that experience that if I could save somebody else time, money, or energy, if they're going through something similar, here's things that they should know, or things that they would find comfort, or the resources or something that they could have. And what she did, Justin, was she wrote that into a book and monetized it. She put it into a format. Anybody could do that.
Yep.
It could be a book, it could be an ebook, it could be a PDF, it could be a video series, it could be a webinar, it could literally be whatever form. The format doesn't matter, but the point is that everybody either has skills, abilities, or experiences that they could be going and helping somebody else out with.
Yeah, you know what? Let me just add to that a little bit. And I don't want to preach about the self-help industry per se, but the education and online education and you can just call it mentorship too. Mentorship world has never been bigger than it is now. It's also there's never been a lower barrier to entry it is now, because you also have access to AI and tools like that can help you with a lot of the things that you don't maybe have the time to learn, or can help you to learn and get through a lot of the more difficult parts of it. But the point is, I don't know if you remember this. There was a couple of years ago that, and I think they're still doing it now, but Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi's put together this program where they were teaching people how to put together, training programs, coaching programs, mentorship programs, right? They did the whole thing, but the fact still remains, like, that's one of those things. Like, if you can think of anything that you've been through that you could help, that could benefit, the experience that you had going for whatever you went through, and the skills that you gained going through that, if that is something that you can help someone else with, then you've got something that you can sell. You've got a skill, or you've got a talent that you can utilize to make money, right?
I don't think
And
it's
help people.
always as like in your face that you think with your skills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, yes. Thank
Like
you for saying that, Pansy.
I'm a former, well, I'm not going really working, but I've been a stay-at-home mom, right? I call myself a domestic engineer. I mean, I ran a pretty tight household. But now to take those skills and turn it into something to monetize on hasn't been the easiest thing to figure out. I have other skills, but for the last 20 something years, that's what I've been doing. I've been caring for others, caring for a house, budgeting, shopping, whatever, and not that it's nothing. It's a lot of work. 100%. If you've ever done it before. And to be truthful, I really didn't have much training in it. It was kind of like, hey, you're on your own, figure it out. And so I did. It wasn't perfect at first. It probably wasn't perfect ever, but I did what I could with it. But now, if I wanted to monetize any portion of that, of the many hats that are worn being in that type of position, that's where I have no clue,
Well, and that's where you need a little bit of help from the outside to help you kind of figure that out. I know that's Jesse, that's something your group, that's part of what you guys do, is like you help kind of give people they know they have something, right? They're maybe just not quite sure exactly how to go monetize it. That's where you guys come in. And so, and again, like Pansy, you and I got to talk about that, because there's so many stay-at-home moms, dads, people that are taking care of the kids and trying to, maybe one of the people is working a full-time job, the other one stays home, whatever it is, that could benefit from your experience and from your knowledge in that, right? It's just about how you put it together, right?
Yeah.
So,
what would a survival guide for Pansy look like if you had to go put something together for yourself when you first started it, you know?
Yeah.
And what format would that be?
Yeah.
Is that a PDF? Is it a book? Are you going to run a support group on Zoom for moms all across the country?
So good.
I mean, that could be a whole bunch of, you could go find people who have, here's the thing with this wave of AI that's about to happen, and you guys are already seeing it. There's so many fake things that are
Yep.
out on the internet nowadays. I mean, even ads and stuff are getting ridiculous.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the only thing that I think that's going to stand out and stand the test of time is authenticity.
Yep.
And
100%.
that authenticity is going to shine through uh, interperson, obviously interactions, things like this. I think communities are
Yeah.
going to grow to be a much, much different thing. I mean, Pace has done a phenomenal. Obviously, I don't think there's anybody else that compares to Pace in terms of like what it takes to build a community. I think everybody else who has communities are so hands off. They're so
Yeah.
separated from it that's not the case inside of Sub 2. And so I think there's going to be more people that hop on to try to create something similar to Pace, whether they know about Pace or not, but just bring in more of that authenticity and this
Yeah.
type of interaction. And you have a lot of those skill sets. You have a lot of those traits. You're an excellent listener, Pansy. You show empathy. You have a lot of experience that you can lean on where you could help and come in and support somebody building out their community by being you know, a community advocate or something like that, you know, and then you could even get more niche with that. Like you go find other people who have things for helping moms that have communities, and you could reach out to them. You can start building this list. This is what the Dream 100 list is. You can start building out this Dream 100 list of people that are ahead of you that you want to build a relationship with. And you're supposed to dream as big as you can. I've got Tony Robbins on mine.
Yeah.
And
Me
that's the entire
too.
point. So
Me
you start
too.
building a list, separate it into 4 different categories. Like, hey, what 25 are within my immediate like vicinity?
Hmm.
Like who do I have as like a peer that might even have a connection to somebody else with a little bit of an audience? And then it just kind of goes up from there. And so Tony Robbins would obviously be at that really high value,
Yeah.
high thing. But that's the strategy. So
Yeah.
now you start building out your entire year around this Dream 100 list. And so where most people are spending their days cold calling and underwriting properties, you know, if you could get in front of a couple big people is all it would take for things to change drastically for next year. You're pressing different levers here is all. So yeah, I think it'd be really, really interesting. But I think there's tons of skill sets and experiences that you could be monetizing from what you already have.
Yeah, I think Pansy is a very good listener, and she's also very good at understanding people. Um, without like very quickly she can pick up on what someone's about, right?
Mm.
And pretty accurately, I would say too, which is one of those skills that, and it really is, it's just about listening and paying attention because as we know, if you listen, people will tell you everything that you want to know about them. So, I think we'll leave it at that. I really appreciate you coming on here, Jesse. I know we're towards the end right now, but for folks watching after the fact, how can people reach you? How can people get a hold of you?
Um, OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. Just Facebook, the gram. Pretty active on there. If you guys
Okay,
want to reach out to there,
what's
would love
your
to connect with you guys.
yeah, and I'll obviously I'll put your Instagram and Facebook in the description. But what's the Instagram handle?
Jesse R. Stanton.
Jesse R. Stanton. Love
And we'll
it.
have it in the description on the video too for
Awesome.
everyone.
And if people want
I
to
love it.
join the
Thank you.
Active Income Network, what does that look like?
Great question. So we're so at the it's $3 a day is what it comes out to right now is all for all of this information.
Hmm.
So we started this just a couple months ago actually, with the intent of getting the culture right, getting everybody kind of up to snuff. So when we start bringing more and more people in, it's like everything that we want to happen is already kind of embedded. So we're it's about $3 a day
Hmm.
right now is what it comes out to. It's just billed every month, and then I think on January 1st, I don't think I've ever said this out loud. On January 1st, we'll bump it up to 5 grand
Oh, wow.
for the year.
Wow.
Yeah, we really do an awesome job of over delivering. And so this is
Massive.
kind of like are, hey, if everybody's in here right now and everybody who joins is
Get
will be
grandfathered in.
grandfathered in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
they won't
grandfathered
get
in
that.
now.
So
No, that's great. And is it on school? Do you have a
it's on
school
school.
community?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Do you
Yep. They
want
can
to,
DM me for the link if they want. Shoot me a DM on the gram.
yeah, what's the school community? It's just called the Active Income Network on school.
On
Okay,
school. Yep.
awesome. Guys,
Yep.
go check them out. For those watching after the fact, go check out Jesse, Facebook, Instagram, just a huge amount of value.
Thank you guys.
Coming from somebody who's been through it. So, you're getting it, from someone who knows what they're talking about. So go check them out. Pansy, thank you for being here today. I know you've had one of those days. So I appreciate you being here. And Jesse, thank you as always, man. It's been a pleasure. And, we'll have you on again. So
Oh,
we'll
looking
bring you
forward
back
to
at
it.
some
Yeah.
point. So, but
Man,
I
this was
appreciate it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I love
Thank
you both.
you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys, we're gonna call it, but if you get a chance, like and subscribe, give us some comments because it does helps us to
Like,
build this
subscribe,
thing.
share, all
Yeah,
of
it
this
really
stuff.
does help us out. So